Hey everyone, I'm Madilynn Dale, and I am going to be reading to you from Releasing Her Power Within. It's the first book in the Phase Shifter series. I hope you enjoy it. Prologue. It's a chilly summer night, and the sound of the girls' giggles fill the air. I smile watching my daughter play on the wooden floor of our porch. She is beautiful, and I wish her father would have stuck around to see her. I know he had more pressing matters to deal with, though, and his absence has kept us hidden. We are safe, but from what my vision showed me, this is only temporary. My fetching young daughter will one day give birth to the one who will change our world. I watch as her tiny blonde curls bounce around while she crawls toward a bug near the edge of the porch. It crawls beneath the railing in an attempt to get away, and I stand to pick my sweet girl up before she follows. Come here, my child. I don't need you chasing that bug off the porch. You may hurt yourself. It is not within our capabilities to fly, dear one. That belongs to another. I pick her up gently around the waist and swing her up, pulling her in close for a tight hug. I take a moment to cradle her in my arms, cherishing this moment. I know what I must do to be sure my vision comes to light. It, in turn, will seal our fate, and we will not continue to live an immortal life like the rest of our people. If we are alive when the magic is unbound, we will regain that precious lifespan, but not until then. My adorable girl, I love you so much, and your father does as well. One day, if he returns, I hope he understands what I had to do. I carry my child back toward the wooden rocker. I continue to cradle her for a few minutes, rocking back and forth, contemplating how to go about my task. I spend a few more minutes thinking before deciding on the words I will use. I turn my small babe and place her facing me in my lap. Her chubby little legs stretch out beside her as she looks up at me and coos. I take a deep breath and focus myself. Keeping a hand at her back to keep her from falling over, I place my other hand on her head. I stare intently into her eyes and reach for my magic. I whisper the words I need and close my eyes as the power floods out of me. The wind picks up around us as the spell begins to take hold, and my precious child begins to cry in fear. I fight back my own cry of pain as I feel it take root within me. Suddenly the wind stops and I open my eyes. I look around before turning my attention to my little girl and cradling her to my chest again. She has gigantic crocodile tears flowing down her cheeks as she wails, and I begin to rock again to soothe her. Shh. Now, sweet Lynn, everything will be okay. Our sacrifice will not be in vain. Shh. Chapter 1. Grandma's Cabin. Liz. I stand at the edge of the cliff overlooking the lake with the wind flowing through my hair. I watch the surface ripple as the light reflects off the blue-green surface. I see small insects hovering near the cloudy surface, causing an occasional fish to jump from the depths. Despite the ripples, the murky water reflects various trees that hang near the surface below, along the shoreline. The shoreline consists of dark earth and different colored rock, creating a beautiful collection of browns. Shades of greens and brown color the trees above it. The view is stunning and almost unreal. Soon the vegetation will change as the weather cools and become a gorgeous collection of fall colors. The sun is blinding as I gaze ahead and take in a deep breath. I let it out as my thoughts begin to drift. I will be leaving the area soon to return once again to my busy life in the city. It fills me with sadness, but this is the life I chose to live. Returning my focus to my breathing, I observe the smell of oak and pine in the air. Opening my eyes, I bring my hand up to shield them from the glare coming off the water below. I have to implant this scene in my memory so I can return here when meditating. It is something I diligently work on since my stress levels remain unmanageably high. Working as a physical therapist assistant in one of the state's best rehabs will do that to you. Don't get me wrong, I love what I do, but it wears you down after a while. I have worked steadily since graduating 5 years ago and pulled in extra hours and the occasional PRN or side job on the side. That is the type of job where you work a few hours, more than not, on a flexible schedule. It is safe to say that I am officially burned out, and I can't stop. I am addicted to working, and I don't do much else. I am trying to change that, and I am here on this trail today with that in mind. I hear footsteps approaching behind me as I continue looking at the water. I'm visually following a hawk as I hear my friend sigh. I feel her step next to me within a hand's reach, and the warmth from her body seems to change the atmosphere in my little bubble. I know she is taking in the view before expressing her thoughts. This is an excellent view, Liz. I'm glad we took off to do this. I feel more relaxed now than I have in a while. How about you? I glance over my shoulder at my friend Tiffany. We decided a few weeks ago to travel to one of the state parks I frequented when I was a kid. Tiffany and I have worked together and have been friends since the start of physical therapy assistant school. We hit it off right away. She's a redhead with blue eyes and long legs, and was a basketball player when she was younger, at least until she blew out her knee during the state tournament game in her junior year. With the discipline of her past, she still maintains her athletic build despite no longer being a seasoned athlete. That's what led her to therapy school where we met. She wanted to help those who have experienced the same type of injury. She finds it exhilarating to assist with the healing process as they prepare to return to playing sports. I, on the other hand, am shorter with dark auburn hair and green eyes. I was more into softball than basketball back in the day. I have a thin build with broad shoulders, with a spattering of freckles across my nose. Like Tiff, I did not play sports when I went to college, but I did play a couple of intramural sports for the fun of it. The park we are visiting is one of the best parks in the state, with the cleanest lake and an abundance of wildlife. Thankfully, we have only seen things like squirrels, raccoons, birds, and rabbits. The sign at the start of the trail mentioned bears and mountain lions, but they have been blessedly absent. The trees are huge and magnificent to behold, ranging from types of pine trees to various oaks. Their sap permeates the air, and it is distinctly noticeable as soon as you exit your car. I love being able to walk down the trail and see nothing but trees above me. Between the foliage created by them, you can occasionally see glimpses of the blue sky. It is almost like being in a different world, a world where pollution and negativity do not exist. It makes for a great escape from reality. After my time clearing my head, I turned toward Tiff. Yes, this absolutely was an excellent idea. The view is amazing and it is so peaceful. We both needed this. I feel 10 pounds lighter than when we got here, despite the circumstances it took to get off work. Another reason we took off for this trip was to check on my grandmother's cabin. It is a couple of miles south of the park and has been in the family for decades. My mother, Lynn Castor, was living in it and attending to it before she passed away last year, after losing her battle with breast cancer. It was a fierce battle for her to let her body slowly go. She took the proper medication and even had a mastectomy to try and stop it, but it failed. She finally just accepted her fate and decided to live life to its fullest while she could. My mother managed to visit all 50 states before finally passing. I loved her, and I sincerely miss her. She inspired me to want to take better care of myself and live life. It has taken me some time to dig myself out of my normal workaholic mode, though. She left me the cabin in her will, and I am finally getting away to check on it. When we get back to the head of the trail, do you want to grab some dinner in town before we head back to the cabin? That sounds great. I know there isn't anything edible back at the cabin. We also still have a lot of things to go through. I am thankful that my mom's old high school friend has been helping me with it since she passed. We arrived yesterday at my grandmother's cabin from the city. It was late when we arrived, but thankfully my mom's friend Trish had been over to change the sheets and whatnot. Her family has been blessedly tending it since my mom passed. They know I can't make it out this way very often. She even boxed up my mother's and grandmother's things for me and placed them in the old library at the back. My grandmother's cabin is a beautiful 3-bedroom structure. It has a small library and office space at the back of the house with a huge window overlooking the most beautiful clearing you will ever see. It has hardwood floors throughout and comfortable furniture. There's a queen-size bed in each room that we always keep covered with handmade quilts. According to my mom, most of the quilts had been around since my great-grandmother and grandfather were around. They are incredibly comfortable. I turned to Tiff and hugged her before saying, "Let's get going before we lose more daylight. Maybe we can get back in time to see if anything comes out into the clearing behind the cabin. I am curious to see what creatures lurk there. Okay, let's go. We can pick up something from that cute little diner we saw at the edge of town and take it with us. We will need to order it there, though. I can't get any service on my cell to Google their number. Sounds good to me. I hope they are fast. We turn in unison to head back to the start of the trail. The trail we took is one that makes a giant circle. It leads hikers to the cliff overlooking the lake and then brings them back again. The cliff has a small clearing set up with wooden picnic tables to rest and eat while out on the trail. My mom used to bring me out here when I was younger to picnic and watch the ducks and fish swim around in the water below. She would always tell me that my dad loved being out here. I'm not sure what happened to her and my dad. I just know that he left before I was born. She always made it seem like they left on good terms, but it doesn't explain why he has never been around. I tried not to let this absence affect me growing up, but it was, at times, challenging. I never could understand why the other kids had a dad and I didn't at a young age. My mom and I moved to the city when I was younger, but came out to stay with my grandma, Kayla, as often as possible. She would make the best chocolate chip cookies. It never failed that I would eat one too many and make myself sick. I hated that she passed when she did. She died peacefully in her sleep, though. That at least left me with peace. Tiff and I walked along the trail, hopping over fallen logs and stepping on the massive stones that line the edge of the creek that runs into the lake. Luckily, we don't come across any snakes, but we have probably scared every animal off with the amount of noise we are making. The old leaves and sticks that crunch under our boots seem to echo in the forest as we move along. I can hear Tiff humming a soft tune, as she does when she works with difficult patients. It seems to relax me and make me realize the tension I was still holding despite my breathing exercise. I'm not sure why, but I have this strange feeling that something is going to change. It is an odd sense of foreboding, but I try to shake it off. This thought then starts the epic Shake It Off song to play in my head, sung by one of my favorite artists. It makes me softly giggle as I continue following Tiff's backside down the narrow trail. We're almost back to the entrance when I hear a strange rustle and hear a large crack behind me. I quickly turn to see what may have caused the noise and see nothing. Odd, I think, as I turn back to look at Tiff, who obviously either did not hear it or kept walking. She's a good 20 yards ahead of me down the trail. Geez, hurry up, Liz. What did you do? Stop to pee or something? I'm starving. She yells back at me when she turns around at the end of the trail. I just smirk and wave her off. I thought I heard something and stopped to see if maybe it was a deer or something. I didn't see anything, by the way. She shakes her head as I finally make it to where she is and pull out the keys to my Jeep. Okay, let's head over to the parking lot. I'm pretty hungry now, too. Psh, I've been hungry for the last 30 minutes. I can't believe you haven't. Well, you know how I am when I am distracted. I don't eat, or more so, I just forget. Yeah, wish I had that problem, she says as she pats her belly. It's not like she is fat or anything. She has a freaking six-pack from the amount of core strengthening she focuses on. Me, not so much. Okay, I get it. Let's get in. We walk over to my forest green Jeep Grand Cherokee and climb in. I start the engine and turn the air conditioner on high. With it being the end of summer, the weather here in Oklahoma is continually changing. It is like winter in the morning, spring in the early afternoon, and summer the rest of the day, until about 9 o'clock. We started the day in thick hoodies that we tied around our waist while we were out. After letting the air cool off the car, I put it into reverse. I back out of the parking spot and switch over to drive. I can't help but look out the window over my shoulder at the woods we just left. I have a strange feeling that something is watching me, but there is nothing there. What is it that could be looking at me? Maybe it is connected to that ruckus I heard earlier? Could it have been a bear or a mountain lion following us? That would be scary. It is good we left when we did. After a few minutes, I glance over at Tiff, who has been quiet the whole time. She is gazing out the window, looking at the trees as they fly by. So, what do you think the food is like at this diner? Do you happen to remember the name of it? I don't think it's called Jimmy's like it used to be. The man that owned it when I was younger died about 10 years ago. I say, not looking at Tiff and keeping my eyes on the road. You never know when a deer will jump out of the woods here. I think it's called Grant's Place or possibly Sally's Diner. We can find out when we get there. I bet the food will be okay. It is still open and running, so it can't be terrible. I hope not. I think I may get a coffee to go with our food. I want to stay up and knock out some of the stuff boxed up in the library tonight. I know we need to go back to the city in a day, and I don't want to put off going through things any longer than I have to. Okay, that sounds good. I'm going to pass on the coffee. Honestly, you drink too much of that stuff. I plan to go for a run in the morning, so I need no caffeine until tomorrow. I can't wait to see what the area will look like on my run. I bet the sunrise is beautiful here, especially in that little clearing behind the cabin. You should get up and watch it with me while I do my workout. It could be fun. You know I am not a morning person. Why would I want to do that? I also don't care to watch you work out. It just reminds me how out of shape I am. Psh, come on, you could totally start working out with me. I've been trying to find a gym partner for ages, you know. No. How about not? I say, chuckling. She sticks her tongue out at me. I love our friendship and that she's like my sister from another mister. It makes me wish my childhood friend, Elle, didn't live so far out of state. They would get along great. I also don't know what I would have done if I didn't have my best friend, Tiff, in my life when my mom passed. She helped me get past the grief and depression I had. We continue to banter back and forth about working out and how it is crucial to health. We discuss maybe doing yoga since I am trying to get my stress levels under control and enjoy life. We also talk about how it will help with my anxiety as well. We throw out a ton of fun ideas, but we both know that me doing some of this is going to be a huge step. I have never been a massive fan of trying new things. I love comfort and routines. Heck, I even struggle to try new foods. After a couple of minutes of this talk, we pull into the lot at the restaurant called Tim's Eats. We were both way off on the name, which makes both of us laugh loudly as we part. We were both way off, I say with a chuckle as I slide out of my Jeep. I close my door and see Tiff getting out. Yeah, we were. Let's go in and get some grub. As we walk to the door, I see a flyer hanging on the door. Out of curiosity, I pause before grabbing the knob to read it. Health personnel wanted for a new rehab facility to open November 10th, 2020. See details for the application and contact info below. I glance down and read the information. I flinch when Tiff pokes me in the side, pulling me from the information. Hey, quit blocking the door and open it already. I'm starved. Move it. Okay, hangry lady. Here, go on through. Thanks.